A lot of legends have retired from international football since the last major tournament, but with the 2026 World Cup on the horizon, we think some national teams might need to go back to some of these guys and ask them to return. Who are some of these guys and why should they be recalled? We'll find out in this video today. These are 7 players who must be recalled from international retirement ahead of the World Cup. We'll start with Angel Di Maria. It's been a long time since Argentina participated in an international tournament without Di Maria. He and Messi have been side by side for so many years, right from the youth teams to the senior team. So we think it will be a much more beautiful story for both of them to have one last dance and then retire together. But even apart from that, we think that Argentina still need him. Di Maria has proven to be a very decisive player for the national team in major tournaments, especially in finals. If they go that far in this World Cup, they'll surely still need him. He doesn't have to play every game, but a very intelligent player like this with tricky feet and a lot of experience will always be very valuable at the World Cup. On top of that, Argentina don't really have a top left winger, and it is Di Maria who covered that position for them at the last World Cup final, and of course he did a great job there, winning a penalty and scoring a goal. Again, we're not saying he must start every game, but we really do think Argentina should find a way to call him out of retirement and take him to the World Cup. But for Italy, it's a whole different reason. Unlike Argentina, the Italians have still not qualified for this year's World Cup, and they're currently at risk of missing out on a 3rd straight edition. A big footballing nation like Italy should be doing everything within their power to avoid that happening. And one of those things might be seeking the help of one of the older heads, like Lorenzo Insigne. The former Napoli man will bring a lot of experience to that team, not only on the pitch, but vitally also in the dressing room. He was one of the leaders in the squad when Italy won the Euros back in 2021, and we think that they could really do with having him ahead of their playoff games. He's just 34 years old, so it's not like he's that old. He only just returned to Italy a couple of months back, trying to help his former club Pescara avoid relegation from the 2nd tier. And well, he's already doing a great job at that. Since he arrived, they've lost just 2 out of 6 games, with Insigne scoring 2 goals in 2 starts. The Naples-born legend still has a lot of value to bring to the Italy national team, and we think that bringing him out of retirement will be well worth it. Don't forget how versatile he is too. He can play as a winger, attacking midfielder, and a striker, so he'll be a very useful attacking tool for Gattuso. Also, with Verratti expected to be out of the playoff games due to injury, Italy are lacking experience already. They need someone who actually knows what it feels like to qualify for and actually play in a World Cup. And well, having not been to the World Cup since 2014, Italy don't have too many of such players around anymore, so Insigne is something of a rare breed right now. Another player we think should be called out of retirement for the sake of the playoffs is Wojciech Szczesny. The man retired from football altogether in 2024, but his retirement was only short-lived. Barcelona came calling just 2 months later after Ter Stegen suffered a long-term injury, and the Pole picked up the phone immediately. Since then, he's been at Barcelona, and he's shown some real levels whenever he was called up. I mean, we have even seen him in action this season, and he wasn't bad at all. He memorably put up a man of the match performance in the first Clasico of the season, making 9 saves, including one from an Mbappe penalty. This man is far from finished, so we think it would be in Poland's best interest to recall him from retirement. We're not saying that Skorupski and the other options are bad, but when it comes to high stakes games where you get no second chances, it's always wise to have your best players on the pitch, and in the goalkeeping position, Szczesny is simply Poland's best guy. They're now 2 games away from the World Cup. They play Albania on the 26th of March, and if they win that, they'll go on to play either Sweden or Ukraine for a place in the World Cup. If they lose any of those games, they're out. It's too great a risk for them to not have their best shot stopper in goal. And remember that Szczesny is something of a penalty specialist. At the last World Cup, he saved 2 penalties in the group stage, one of them from Lionel Messi. That made him only the 3rd goalkeeper to save 2 penalties penalties in normal time at one World Cup tournament. Considering that the playoff games could possibly go to penalties, it feels compulsory that Poland convinced the former Juventus man to return to the team. He turned down a call-up last year to focus on his duties at Barcelona, as he had become the first-choice goalie then. But now that his responsibilities have greatly reduced with the arrival of Joan Garcia, we believe that he'll be more willing to return. And remember, he's just 35 years old. In goalkeeper years, that is definitely not old at all. Another goalkeeper who just has to be recalled from retirement is Manuel Neuer. He retired from international football after the Euros 2 years ago, but we think that they might need him to return ahead of the World Cup. In 2024, it looked pretty straightforward that Ter Stegen would take over from him, but the former Barcelona captain has been plagued with injuries for a long time now, which has greatly limited his minutes. He has played only 3 games this season due to a back injury and then a hamstring injury. He's expected to be back before the World Cup, but having not played much throughout the season, can Germany really trust his form between the sticks? This is exactly why we think that Neuer should be recalled. Yes, the Bayern man is currently injured as well, but it's nothing too serious. He should be back in a couple of weeks, and the difference is that we've actually seen Neuer in action this season, and he's been as solid as always. He has conceded the fewest goals of any goalkeeper in the Bundesliga and is in the top 7 for best save percentage in the Champions League this season. The man has shown no signs of stopping, so with Ter Stegen's body practically failing him, we think Germany should try and convince their former captain to return for one last dance. Now, a lot of you might not agree with this next one, but just hear us out. France must find a way to recall Antoine Griezmann from retirement ahead of the World Cup. It is true that without Griezmann, Les Bleus still have so much attacking talent, but we still think that they need a player like him. Right now, France don't have any experienced creative player. A player who's very comfortable in the pockets and can play in between the lines. That's exactly who Griezmann is. Shaqiri's fantastic at doing that as well, but he's still very young and has no experience playing at a major international tournament. Putting all that responsibility on him in the biggest competition in world football might be a risk. What if something happens and he chokes because of the pressure? Who then do you fall back on? Now, we're not saying that Griezmann must start at the World Cup, but we think it would be wise to include him in the squad. And it's not even like he's now a scrub. We're talking about a man who's been directly involved in 17 goals for his club this season, with most of them coming against big teams like Barcelona, Real Madrid, Inter Milan and Spurs. A player like this will always be valuable. In our opinion, France will be better off taking Griezmann than the likes of Marcus Thuram, Kolo Muani, Coman and Nkunku. And with Lloris, Varane and Giroud having also recently retired, France don't have many leaders in the squad right now, and that's another reason why bringing Griezmann back is not such a bad idea. Another attacking player that must be recalled from retirement is Luis Suarez. Yes, he's now past his prime right now. All you have to do is take a good look at the options Uruguay have in the centre forward position, and you'll see how much they need him. They have Luciano Rodriguez, Federico Viñas, Agustin Alvarez and Darwin Núñez. Say Núñez starts. Which of these players can you trust to make an impact off the bench when things get a little desperate? Uruguay will be going up against Spain in the group stage, so even from the group stage they won't be having things easy. So they'd need players who can produce magic. We'll admit that Suarez is no longer the physical specimen he once was, but as we saw from him at the Club World Cup last year, the man has moments of brilliance every now and then, and sometimes that's enough to make the difference on the biggest stages. And apart from what he brings on the pitch, Suarez's experience will also be very valuable in the dressing room. It just feels right that they recall him. Finally, Switzerland surely need to recall Xherdan Shaqiri. He announced his retirement from international football in 2024, but we think that the coach must find a way to convince him to return for one last dance. The former Liverpool man is always a hit at international tournaments. He was the first player to score in each of the last 6 major international tournaments, from the 2014 World Cup down to the 2024 Euros. We think he has what it takes to extend that to 7 at this year's World Cup. He's currently on fire with Basel. Last season he led them to their first league title in 8 years, scoring 18 goals and providing 20 assists in 34 games, and finishing as both the league's top scorer and top assist provider. This season he's continued in that form with 28 goal involvements in 40 appearances so far. So as you can see, the guy is still on fire. He's one person who can produce a goal out of absolutely nothing, and the bangers he's scored in the Euros and the World Cup over the years are evidence of that. If Switzerland really want to go far at this year's World Cup, they might need to find a way to convince Shaqiri to get on that plane this summer. Anyway, it's now time to hear from you guys. Do you agree with our list? In your opinion, which of these players shouldn't be recalled? Are there other players that you think should be recalled from retirement? Perhaps guys like Cavani, Pepe or Cruz? Get in the comments and talk to us. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notifications so that you never miss out on new content. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye. Hey Goal90 family, what's good? The World Cup season is here and you already know the vibes on this channel. So for everyone who's been rocking with us, Goal90 Shop has World Cup jerseys for the whole squad. Men, women and kids. Whatever country you're repping, we've got ya. Home kits, away kits, clean classics and the loud ones. Instant match day energy. And it's love from us. Free shipping worldwide. Grab yours now and let's run this tournament together.